In the shadows of the digital world, a notorious figure emerged, captivating the attention of both the cyber underworld and law enforcement. With ties to Russian spies, this individual executed some of the most daring cybercrimes in history. But who was the man behind all this, evading capture and operating under a veil of anonymity? This cybercriminal became a symbol of the growing threat posed by hacking in our increasingly connected lives. Born in Latvia on June 27, 1987, Belan showed an interest in computers and technology from a young age. Growing up during the rise of the internet in the late 1990s, he started honing his skills early, eventually adopting a series of online aliases like M4G, MagQAR, and others to conceal his identity. By 2006, at the age of 18 and living in Russia, Belan had already gained significant attention within the cybercriminal community. Operating under the alias M4G, he became associated with several early security breaches. His growing notoriety caught the attention of both underground hacking forums and law enforcement. This period marked his initial rise in the hacking world, where he began engaging in more complex and high-profile cybercrimes. Illegal activities conducted through digital means, including computers, smartphones, and other devices connected to the internet, is cybercrime. These crimes can range from identity theft and data breaches to more sophisticated attacks like ransomware and phishing. Cybercriminals often exploit weaknesses in software, networks, and human behavior to steal sensitive information, disrupt operations, and damage reputations. One of the most common forms of cybercrime is data breaches, where criminals access private information without permission. This can involve the theft of passwords, financial details, or personal identification information. Once obtained, this data is often sold on the dark web or used to commit identity theft, where criminals impersonate victims to carry out fraudulent transactions. Another major threat comes from phishing attacks, where cybercriminals send deceptive emails to trick users into revealing personal information or clicking on malicious links. The consequences of cybercrime are far-reaching. For individuals, it can lead to financial loss, identity theft, or emotional stress. For businesses, a successful attack can result in data loss, financial penalties, and long-term reputational damage. Governments are also vulnerable, as cyber attacks on infrastructure can lead to national security risks and public safety concerns. In 2000, the United Nations 10th Congress on the Prevention of Crime and the Treatment of Offenders officially defined cybercrime by placing it into 5 core categories. Unauthorized access, which involves illegally entering computer systems; damage to computer data or programs, where vital information or programs are corrupted or destroyed; sabotage, aimed at disrupting the functionality of a computer system or network; unauthorized interception of data, where information is intercepted without permission; and computer espionage, where sensitive data is stolen for strategic purposes. These categories laid the groundwork for how cybercrimes would be understood and handled worldwide, emphasizing the growing concern about digital threats. Globally, both state actors and non-state actors are heavily involved in cybercrime, which includes a wide range of activities, from cyber espionage, where secretive information is stolen for competitive or political advantage, to financial theft, where hackers drain bank accounts or steal credit card details. When these cybercrimes span across international borders and involve at least one government, they are sometimes referred to as cyber warfare. This is a form of conflict that takes place in the digital realm, involving hacking, data theft, and system sabotage as strategic acts of war. Even Warren Buffett has recognized the growing danger, stating that cybercrime is the #1 problem with mankind and that it poses real risks to humanity. His words underscore how significant a threat cybercrime has become, not just to businesses and individuals, but to the functioning of society as a whole. According to the World Economic Forum's 2020 Global Risk Report, cybercrime is becoming more organized, with criminal groups forming alliances to conduct large-scale attacks online. These groups work together to target governments, corporations, and individuals, making detection and prosecution incredibly difficult. In the US, for instance, the chances of cybercriminals being caught and successfully prosecuted are less than 1%. This low rate of detection highlights the complexities law enforcement faces when tackling cybercrime, particularly when it involves international players using sophisticated techniques to mask their activities. Cybercrime isn't just a threat to financial institutions or corporations. It's a significant concern when it comes to privacy. Sensitive personal data is often intercepted during these crimes, whether it's being collected legally through surveillance or illegally through hacks or data breaches. In both cases, the invasion of privacy can have serious consequences, from identity theft to the exposure of confidential information. Looking ahead, the World Economic Forum's 2023 Global Risk Report identifies cybercrime as one of the top 10 risks the world will face over the next decade. This projection highlights just how entrenched cyber threats have become in modern society. The report emphasizes the economic impact of cybercrime, which, if treated as a standalone entity, would represent the third largest economy in the world. To put that into perspective, cybercrime is expected to cause over $9 trillion in damages globally by 2024. This staggering figure reflects not only financial losses, but also the long-term consequences for businesses, governments, and individuals alike. As cybercriminals continue to evolve their tactics, cybersecurity strategies must keep pace to effectively counter these threats, from high-profile breaches targeting major corporations and governments to more personalized attacks like identity theft. The scope of these risks has grown significantly. Operating under the alias M4Jew, Alexsey Belan concentrated his early hacking efforts on targeting websites connected to ICQ Communications, a popular messaging platform at the time. Additionally, he set his sights on Lord Monner, a massively multiplayer online game MMO, a common target for early hackers interested in exploiting gaming systems for personal gain or recognition in underground communities. Belan's hacking activities during this period helped him gain notoriety in cybercriminal circles, especially with his focus on breaching online gaming and communication platforms, which were hotbeds for both social interaction and financial transactions during the mid-2000s. This phase marked the beginning of his deeper involvement in more significant cybercrimes. Belan's reach expanded further when an Israeli cloud computing company named Jot became the next target of his digital attacks. Evidence from a screenshot found on a hacking forum where Belan, operating as M4GT, was active, suggests that sensitive data from the company was compromised. This breach further solidified his reputation as a prodigy in the hacking world. Realizing the value of collaboration, Belan started working with other hackers, recognizing that sharing knowledge and expertise would open doors to more significant and complex attacks. By building a network of fellow cybercriminals, Belan broadened the scope of his operations, targeting more sophisticated systems. One of his key tactics was seeking assistance from this network to crack passwords. These efforts allowed him to bypass security protocols and gain unauthorized access to sensitive data, further cementing his standing in the cyber underworld. In addition to building a network of fellow hackers, the collaboration also provided Belan access to underground marketplaces where he could profit from the sale of hacked data. Through these platforms, he sold stolen credit card information, compromised ICQ accounts, and other sensitive data. His ability to navigate these forums significantly contributed to his financial gains. By 2011, Belan's skills had evolved. He underwent a transformation, emerging as a proficient web application hacker with a particular focus on breaching WordPress sites. WordPress, being a widely used content management system, presented both a challenge and an opportunity for Belan. One of his first known web application victims was a vulnerable WordPress server placed within a branch office connected to a corporate WAN wide area network with minimal security protocols. Belan was able to locate this server through a simple Google search, and over the course of 5 days, he executed a detailed plan to breach it. First, he modified the PHP authentication mechanism of the WordPress site to intercept the credentials of corporate users who interacted with the platform. Then, using Nmap, a network scanning tool, he identified an internal wiki used by the organization, which served as a key entry point. With the stolen credentials, Belan gained further access to the internal systems, uncovering administrative procedures stored in the wiki, allowing him to compromise the network further. Belan's sophisticated approach showcased his transition from basic hacking to a more advanced understanding of web vulnerabilities. Despite his earlier successes, Belan encountered a challenge when he reached an administrative portal that required two-factor authentication, 2FA, preventing him from gaining access initially. However, his persistence paid off when he discovered a hidden staging instance of the portal, an alternative gateway that bypassed the two-factor authentication requirement. This discovery allowed him him to proceed undetected and gain administrative access. From there, Belan secured MySQL credentials, granting him access to the company's customer data. To avoid detection, he split sections of the database into smaller chunks, extracting the information by placing the data onto a network file-sharing server. This method enabled him to steal vast amounts of sensitive information while maintaining a low profile within the system. His ability to circumvent advanced security measures like two-factor authentication demonstrated his evolving expertise as he continuously found new ways to exploit vulnerabilities, whether through administrative loopholes or by leveraging overlooked entry points within the company's infrastructure. Belan's hacking operations extended further as he demonstrated a deep understanding of Linux-based systems and their security mechanisms. He manipulated authentication protocols and access controls to gain unauthorized entry into various corporate systems. One notable instance involved a compromised engineering account that had been accessing a corporate VPN from an IP address in Russia. This raised suspicion and eventually led to an FBI investigation. The compromised system was traced to an iMac running a Linux virtual machine in the home of the targeted engineer. Belan had discovered this vulnerability through the engineer's public LinkedIn profile, where details of the systems they worked on were available. The virtual machine hosted several PHP websites, which Belan meticulously examined for potential weaknesses. His methodical approach led to the discovery of an arbitrary file upload vulnerability within one of the site's file upload systems, providing him with initial access. Once inside, Belan elevated his privileges on the system. He moved deeper into the system, cracking local password hashes to authenticate himself as a legitimate user. From here, he launched a brute force attack from the guest Linux virtual machine, targeting the host system running macOS. To cover his tracks, he developed tools to erase log entries on the virtual machine, ensuring his activities remained undetected. Belan's efforts culminated in extracting VPN configuration details from the host operating system, including client certifications, private keys, and gateway specifics. Armed with this information, he successfully gained access to the corporate VPN, masquerading as the engineer. For the next 3 months, Belan maintained unauthorized access to the company's systems, continuing his surveillance and exploitation without being detected. Belan's reach wasn't confined to one country. Reports of breaches linked to him surfaced not only in Russia, but also across Ukraine and other parts of the former Soviet bloc, marking him as a global threat in the world of cybercrime. This event was just one chapter in Belan's extensive cybercrime career, leading to his second known victim. Several prominent targets fell into Alexsey Belan's crosshairs, such as Big Mir, a major Ukrainian entertainment website, and Rambler, one of Russia's largest search engines and web portals. Rambler acknowledged a significant breach in 2014, revealing that records from 98 million accounts were compromised in 2012 and 2013. Facing legal pressure, U.S. authorities filed indictments against Belan for orchestrating cyber attacks on 3 prominent American e-commerce companies. His hacks had reached corporate giants, with the indictment linking him to high-profile breaches, including Zappos, a shoe retailer, Evernote, a note-taking app, and Scribd, a document-sharing platform. Belan's reach wasn't confined to one country. He was a global player in cybercrime. When the United States made moves to arrest him, Belan, then 29 years old, went on the run. It's believed he was apprehended in Greece in 2013, but somehow he escaped. To this day, it's unclear what specific crime he was arrested for and how he managed to elude capture. In the same year, Belan was added to the FBI's most wanted list, with a $100,000 reward offered for information leading to his capture. An Interpol red notice was also issued, meaning he could be arrested by police in any country. Despite this, whether he was in his home country of Latvia or places like Thailand, Belan managed to stay off the radar. Internationally, efforts to bring him to justice went beyond law enforcement. The U.S. government imposed sanctions on Belan, aiming to cut off his financial resources. However, he continued to evade arrest, raising suspicions about potential internal support from powerful allies. Within cybersecurity circles, whispers of possible possible connections to Russian intelligence services added another layer of complexity to Belan's story. The idea that he had state-sponsored backing only deepened the mystery surrounding him. In 2014, Alexsey Belan redirected his hacking efforts towards one of his most notorious targets, Yahoo. The attack commenced with a spear-phishing email dispatched to a Yahoo employee, exploiting a significant vulnerability in cybersecurity: human error. This single click opened the door for Belan, allowing him to infiltrate Yahoo's network. Once inside, he targeted two key objectives: Yahoo's user database and the account management tool, which were crucial for unauthorized modifications to user data. In December 2014, Belan further secured his position within Yahoo's infrastructure by planting a backdoor on one of its servers. His actions culminated in the theft of a backup copy of Yahoo's user database, which contained sensitive information for over 500 million user accounts. This data included names, phone numbers, password challenge questions, answers, and password recovery emails. By transferring this valuable database to his personal computer, Belan effectively compromised millions of user accounts. Belan was not operating alone. He teamed up with Karim Baratov, a Canadian hacker who specialized in targeting specific users. Together, they exploited the stolen data to access other platforms, including Gmail. From October 2014 to at least November 2016, Belan and his associates unlawfully accessed user information to carry out various malicious activities. This included searching through emails for gift voucher codes, deliberately targeting individuals of interest, manipulating search rankings for businesses they favored, and using Yahoo data to breach other accounts. Belan's tactics included manipulating web cookies, which allowed him to bypass the need for passwords, granting him direct access to user accounts. He generated access cookies that could be used to log into accounts, including those belonging to government officials, journalists, and employees from strategically relevant organizations. The ability to bypass authentication through cookie manipulation made the breach particularly devastating. Initially, the breach was estimated to have affected 500 million accounts, but later announcements revealed the extent of the breach was much larger, impacting all 3 billion Yahoo users. The compromised data also included both encrypted and unencrypted security questions and answers, along with hashed passwords. Most Yahoo accounts used the Bcrypt hashing algorithm, known for its resistance to cracking, while others relied on the outdated MD5 algorithm, which is much easier to compromise. As the breach drew attention, U.S. authorities began investigating. In March 2017, a grand jury in California issued indictments against 4 individuals, including Belan and his accomplice Karim Baratov, along with 2 officers from the FSB, Dmitry Dokuchayev and Igor Sushchin. The charges included computer hacking, economic espionage, and various criminal offenses linked to the Yahoo breach. On March 15, 2017, the FBI charged 4 individuals in connection with the 2014 Yahoo breach, highlighting the extensive criminal collaboration involved. Among those charged was Alexsey Belan, a notorious hacker already on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. The FBI's statement emphasized the severity of the situation, declaring the criminal conduct at issue carried out and otherwise facilitated by officers from an FSB unit that serves as the FBI's point of contact in Moscow on cybercrime matters is beyond the pale. The other individuals charged